First question for today. What is the relationship between reincarnation, karma, and soul lessons? Well, obviously, it's all related. What is the relationship between reincarnation and karma? Let's see. Let's try to understand each one of these three concepts. First of all, reincarnation. Reincarnation is something that is natural in existence. We're not talking about the soul here, okay? We're not talking about the same energy, the same cells, the same atoms, which regenerate once and again. Reincarnation is the capacity that life has to adapt and to continue creating and regenerating itself constantly despite death. So one of the keys to understanding reincarnation is that it's not a matter of a soul leaving a body and entering another one, but rather it's the same matter readapting to different environments once and again. So that means energy travels and moves constantly, because energy is eternal through the change of matter. And so, the data of the soul, which are the cosmic universal energy, the data of the soul move through different bodies starting from that change. So what is reincarnation? Reincarnation is the constant adaptation of physical bodies through time and space. And how energy keeps going through all those forms, anchoring in different bodies at different times. Therefore, what does this mean? It means that everything that exists reincarnates constantly. Everything is reincarnation. Everything is born and dies constantly. Basically, life is not something that is born and dies. Instead, life is the whole process of being born and dying, being born and dying, being born and dying. For existence in general, that is the real process of reincarnation. The adaptation of energy to all the environments that are generated in reality. So, what is karma? Karma is the learning. In reality, karma has to do, it comes from the word dust in Sanskrit, if I'm not mistaken. And it has to do with everything that was not cleaned, that we couldn't clean, polish, through lifetimes or learning. So, what does this mean? When all those things that a person lived cannot be resolved at the time of death, pass on through generations via the cells, the DNA, or via the energy of the soul. So, those two paths, which are one, really, almost parallel to each other, carry incomplete information. What the being tries to do is survive and adapt to the environment. If what I was adapting to could not be understood, could not be finalized, there wasn't a final of adaptation. That is, there was no transcending of the process. Then the learning continues, right? Because, let's remember, it's a long life with birth, death, birth, death, birth, death, birth, death, right? Let's not interpret life, death, life, death, life, death. Let's interpret a life in which one is born, one dies, one is born, one dies, one is born, one dies constantly. So, if I couldn't resolve something in the different years or lives that I had, and by resolving I mean to transcend an existence, because I know we take karma as I did something wrong. And so now I need to do something good or solve the bad thing. It has nothing to do with something bad. It has to do with things that haven't been transcended, with things that haven't been integrated or transcended. It has to do with experiences that were left unfinished, experiences that were not understood, with experiences I couldn't assimilate. So, what happens? During life we are presented with those circumstances again, so that I can have a process of assimilation, a process of transcendence of this process, of this fact itself. That's why, throughout the process of reincarnation, karma is all those things. we didn't manage to integrate or transcend, and which is passed on through biology or through energy, which traverses biology and transforms reality. So, that's karma. And soul lessons are when the soul, which is the energy, manages to observe the walked path in retrospect. And therein understands the logic of everything that happened. And then transcends it. The soul learns when it transcends what it lived and didn't manage to understand or assimilate. So that is the relationship between reincarnation, karma and learning.